Well, the first time I read about Mr. Das in a newspaper, and it said it took him 32 years to get a freedom fighter's certificate. And that set me thinking, because he was being flaunted around like a fraud, a man who was trying to take advantage of the pension that the government was offering. And he was trying to prove that his past was not a dream. And it intrigued me so much that it set me thinking and also set me looking around for the man. I found him on the outskirts of Mumbai in a distant suburb called Dahisar, and I went and met him, and that's how this film took shape.
And what made you connect it to what's happening in India right now? Because a beautiful connection and a beautiful comment about what's happening in Indian society right now, and you connected it to the story of this man.
Yes, very coincidentally, India was passing through this phase of a rebellion internally, and everyone was wanting a change and crying for a change. And here was a man who, without raising his voice, actually succeeded, I wouldn't say in putting the bureaucracy in its place, because I don't know whether the film is a tragedy or a triumph at the end. The freedom fighters' certificate on paper, because they can't afford a copper plaque anymore. So, somewhere, the fortunes of the country and the state of affairs of Mr. Das versus the bureaucracy ran parallel, and somewhere it telescoped and very coincidentally mirrored what the society had come down to.
And I think what's really elevated this film to another level is the incredible cast that you've managed to assemble. How important was it for you to get technically great actors to come together for this film?
Very, very important, and it was a very interesting exercise. I had to think out of the box. A lot of people wondered why I cast Mr. Vinay Pathak as the protagonist. When there were so many obvious names who were vying for the title part. For me, what was important was that I didn't want a persona up there on screen. I didn't want someone who looked very strong, either mentally or physically. I wanted a vulnerability to the character of Das, although the internal struggle made him very strong. And of course, for Mrs. Das, I knew I was going to the person who was very, very discerning about scripts and who was very selective about films. But I decided to take a chance because I really wanted her very badly.
Well, that's the next question. Normally, you're like the center of attention in films. You're carrying the film on your shoulders. What made you come on board to play almost like a supporting role in this film?
Well, to begin with, when I read the script, I read it at one go, and I found it deeply moving. And that's rare, because, one reads a lot of scripts, and most of them are quite mediocre, and it's difficult to get through a script. And I was surprised that he offered me Lakshmi Das's role, because I was like, really? Am I that old? Has mother aged me so much? But, when I read the script and when I spoke to Ananth, and I found out about the team that is collaborating, I was really quite eager and quite greedy to be part of that team, because it's just, it's a fantastic collaboration of all departments and not just actors, as Ananth will tell you. I saw the film for the first time today, and I was deeply moved once again.
Wow. And how did you work on the look of your film? Because, your transformation, you always do transform yourself, but I think here you've just gone on to another level of transforming yourself.
Yeah, it was quite a challenge. I don't know what got us to take it on, but we spent a lot of time with Mr. and Mrs. Das. It's not, and Ananth had said that, we don't need to copy her, we don't have to, recreate her exactly, but to we spent some time with Mrs. Das and got kind of a feeling of her personality, and, you can make out the space that a person takes. And that was very interesting. Little mannerisms, the fact that she always carried a hanky with her, and I think just spending time with them and being in their house and being able to interact with them, that helped.
And how did you feel about the makeup and looking like an old lady?
Oh, I thought it was great fun. We have a lovely picture of the real Mr. and Mrs. Das, and then Vinay and me together.
Wonderful. And when you were making this film and you've got all these actors, did you feel a little bit under pressure because you're making a film about a very important subject and you have to kind of make it correct and you've done a beautiful job of it? Did you feel any pressure making this film?
Yes, certainly. I would lie.
Because
I would be
it's
lying.
it's an important film.
Yes, I would be lying if I said I was absolutely, at ease, because I knew that this was a very challenging film to do. What was most challenging about this film was the fact that it took Das 32 years of resilience and patience to go through this. And it was important for me to pace the film out accordingly. I couldn't rush through this film because Das's life was not rushed. Das's life was almost like, a plateau at a lot of places, and things did not move. So the biggest risk I've taken with this film is today, in a time of intolerance, today in a time when we can't, marriages don't last even 3 or 4 years. We can't stand each other. Everything needs to be paced up in life. It's that get on with it policy. How much or how much can I hold on to Das and the mood of the man and the family in this film? And that was very important for me. And I had to understate the whole thing. There's an amount of subtlety in the film, and no one really acted. So that was what posed the biggest challenge for me, and I'm very fortunate to have this team of actors who understood and...
That must help you as a director, the fact
Yes,
that you've
of
got
course.
such technically gifted actors.
Absolutely. I now, after looking at this film for the 50th time today, I wonder what I would have done without any of these actors and this great technical team that we put together. I would go to the extent of being very immodest and say this is probably the best technical team ever assembled in an Indian film. Right from the writer, who is a poet, a writer, an editor, and a novelist, and not a regular film writer, C.P. Surendran, to the cameraman who's an Emmy Award winner, Alphonse Roy, who is probably the best wildlife photographer in the world, to Rasool Pookuti, who's an Academy Award winner, to Shrikar Prasad, the editor, who's a 9-time National Award winner, and to, of course, Dr. L. Subramaniam, who scored music, the violin maestro who scored music for a film 30 years after he scored music for Meera Nair's Salam Bombay. So I've been extremely fortunate to have this team rally around me and put together a film like this. So it's been an experience.
And
yes.
with the best films, they entertain you, but you learn something new. Like, I never knew about this story, so I learned something new. Did you two learn anything new while you were making this film?
Yeah, I actually didn't know about Mr. Das either. And what is lovely is that, of course, you're discovering his journey, but because Ananth has, related it to present India and the daily frustration that all of us face, whether it's the tanker mafia, whether it's the bureaucratic red tape, all of this is something we daily experience. And that, I think, really connects it to us and connects us to Das's struggle in a way.
Did you learn anything new? I mean, you've gone really deep into this, so did you?
Yes,
You must have learned so much.
Certainly. For me, it's been a life-changing experience. I no longer walk up the steps of a bureaucratic office and shout at them. I think of Das. I think of holding myself back. I think there is a lot of patience that has come into me after this film. And yes, I look at myself as a different person after meeting Mr. Das, because there is no way that he cannot influence your way of thinking. And I'm a lot more, what would one say, at peace with myself now.
I think this is a film that will really kind of affect young people. Is this something that you want young people to watch this film?
I think it's a film for the youth. It's not as much a film about the independence struggle or the freedom movement of India, as much as the youth who are really unaware of who built that roof over their heads, who laid the foundation stone of their house in a free country. And if they are unaware of what their great-grandparents did for them and what was the struggle to give them a free India, then they would be doing themselves and their next generation a big disservice if they did not learn about how it all happened and how it was taken forward so that we could live in a country that lets us breathe freely, and we could build a country that is rid of corruption and red tapeism. So I think it's as much for the youth as for any other generation. Well, I'll tell you, that's the only little change that we did in the real story. The character of Ranveer Shori, Rajiv Singhal is the real name of the man who actually goaded Gour Hari Dastaan to fight for his freedom fighter's certificate when he had almost given up. And in the film, the writer just transposed it to journalist, the media, because Rajiv Singhal in real life was just an industrialist and a philanthropist, and there was not much drama in his life. So we needed the other side, the other flip side of the coin of Das. And I think Ranveer Shori was the ideal foil to Vinay Pathak. Both had demons in their mind, both had a lot of cobwebs in their mind, and both complemented each other in ridding each other of their complexes. So I thought it was a great symbiotic relationship between the two, and that's the reason why we converted the industrialist into a journalist. I understand. That's what bogs him down. You see, that's what keeps taking him back 2 steps when he's trying to take 1 step ahead. And I think that's where it all came to a full cycle in the end when he says, if Das had not got a certificate, my soul would have been, haunting this place too and be wandering around without fulfilling its mission. So somewhere I think he came around, somewhere I think the demons in his mind were also exorcised.
I would also like to say, if I can add, that if he, had not been such a male chauvinist pig and had a perfect marriage and wasn't an alcoholic, he would be a perfect person. we didn't want to portray, I think, perfect people. And, what is interesting about human beings is that, sometimes they may be very noble and sometimes they may be very ignoble. And these are the contradictions that make characters interesting and films interesting. So you like someone because of certain things, you dislike them because of others, and these are the demons that he himself is battling with. His wife is leaving him because he's a chauvinist pig, and he obviously has these kind of problems you can make out. He has problems, he's drinking, his life is not okay at all.
There are a lot of unsung heroes amidst us. The reason why I chose Gour Hari Dastaan was he's amongst the last of the living freedom fighters.
Yes.
Think of the situation, our very next generation will never meet this tribe again.
True.
Isn't that so frightening and so sad? So that's the reason why I rushed with this film, because Das kept asking me, will I see this film during my lifetime?